Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. I'm sorry to cut you
No,
off.
you're fine.
But because you were just speaking of trash and just different things. What about this comfort dog thing? How does Section 8 deal with the comfort dog if the landlord says no pets?
You have to have documents from the doctor to say if only service pets. So if the landlord says no pets and you have a service pet or a condition that requires a pet, you have to have documentation.
Okay, well,
to say
what if
You
my
can't,
lease says
you
no
can't
service
discriminate. You can't
Can't- now,
discriminate
that's
against
yeah.
them for having a
How do
service
dogs
pet.
have more rights than humans?
It's not so
I
much
just
the
know,
dog right.
I just know that you can't discriminate against someone for that.
Dog.
Service animals.
Okay. What are they?
Service animals.
Okay. I don't have anything against dogs, pets. I'm afraid of cats. But as far as being a landlord, I don't think that I should have to be forced to rent to someone like this pet is on my foot. I mean, it's like, why is it that they can go get this letter to say, now if it's somebody that is actually handicapped or blind, I get that. I get all that.
It's not necessarily handicapped and blind though, but you have people with emotional issues.
I got emotional issues.
You cannot walk down here, baby. I said you gotta stay up until
What's wrong with him?
What's wrong?
Probably his allergies. Ain't even crying.
What you crying for?
Cause when he wants to be a spoiled brat, he's a mommy's boy. But when he wants
That's
to
gonna be the next episode. Kids and their issue. Does he need something? Do you need to snip some peppermint or something?
sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
So back to. So it's not always a handicap. Sometimes it's just emotional. Some people rely on animals, you know, for emotional reasons, or I've seen it. I see the commercial all the time where the little girl thinks she's going through like cancer treatment, and they bring in like. So it's not always a physical thing that you can see up front, but that's why you require a doctor's note to say, hey, this person needs this pet for whatever their service reason is.
So they do in the letter. They are supposed to provide a reason, or is that confidential?
I'm not sure what the terms are because the one tenant I dealt with, she never got her letter. She was just trying to
manipulate.
No, because it's crazy because I mean you get people that just keep talking about it, but and then they
see that's my thing.
Right, but then at that point, because what we were doing, we were imposing the fines back on her that the building was imposing on us because it was no. So we imposed those fines. We attacked them on because we put it in writing. We called her, like we went through the steps to let her know that you can't have this pet without documentation. It's prohibited in this building unless you have. We have to put this on file with the condo association with the rental office. So
no, you're speaking for DC.
This was in DC.
Okay, because I do know in Miami, it's in their lease agreement, and that you're paying $500 extra. Not just that one time, you're paying $500 extra a month for a pet. So,
yeah, DC has a clause, but because most of ours were no pets, we really didn't have that. It was just this one.
So what was the penalty?
I think monthly we just imposed back the same charge. I think it was like $50 a month additional. But when you already behind in rent,
Right.
it's kind of hard.
That's hard to pick
I just
up.
feel like they have more rights than humans, and to me, it's not fair because if, like, where my property is, it's a condo, it's an elderly building. If there are elderly women and men in that building, you can have some that are afraid. That can cause a heart attack.
Yeah.
If you're coming out the door with the dog, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so at what point do you look at it from there? Like,
yeah, I know. I have issues like because I have clients who I'm listing their rental, and they will say I don't want any pets, and so I'll put that in the listing, no pets. But I still get calls from agents asking, is it okay for them to have a pet? And I'm like, my question is always like, what kind of pet?
no, so because you not read it.
Right. Is it a service? And I mean, but you have to ask these questions because it's so many protected classes, especially in DC. So you just have to make sure that you're not discriminating against them in any type of way. And so even though the listing says no pets, they will still call and ask. I had one in particular who had a Japanese Akita. And I was
That's
like,
the O.J. Simpson dog.
not in this small townhouse. That dog is too big. And I believe it was a service animal, I'm not sure. And then they asked us, could we close in the backyard? And I'm like, we're not doing all of that. It's your dog.
Pets, but you said no pets.
Right.
And now you're asking,
and now you're asking me
to
so they still
provide convenience for
right.
you too. No.
And for my clients to spend more money.
No.
And not only that, I just think like, I mean, I get it, service animal, you can't really discriminate on what type of animal, but if you're asking me for a service animal, have something small. Have a York.
Right.
Like, if you just need that comfort, but when you're talking about a dog 2 times your size,
not even that.
Like, you need you don't need an animal, you need a person. You need a husband, a wife. It's beyond at that point.
Yeah,
See, but I was telling Diane about someone that I know, and they were renting their unit, and they tenant pit bull. I didn't know pit bull could be considered a service animal because of the fact they'll turn on you in a second as an owner. Years, I mean, you could have a dog for how many cases have we seen on the news?
Yeah,
they had a dog
attacking.
for years, and then they all of a sudden attack the owner. So to see that a pit bull could be considered as a service animal, come on, man, that's a little steep, like.
Right. I mean, and then the question is, if somebody has a pet and they attack you, who do you sue? Who do you go after? Is it the complex? Is it the owner? But I do know in Maryland, even though pit bulls are illegal, if they're grandfathered in prior to the law taking effect, then you can't sue. Or if they are, I know you have to register them. If it's a known breed, I think PG is if they're pure pit is absolutely illegal, but if it's a mixed breed with pit and something else, you just have to register.
Okay.
So
that makes sense because my husband was just telling me the other day that now they're renaming them. They're not naming them, they're naming them bullies.
Yeah.
But
so it's a breed of pit bull.
But it is a pit bull.
Yeah, so I mean I know somebody who did breed bullies.
Pit bull.
All of hers were in Maryland, but I also know someone who her dog was attacked and actually lost a leg, but the dog that attacked her dog was grandfathered in, so she couldn't, she had to pay out of pocket for his surgery. And
so let me ask you this. Majority of my tenants I tell them to get renter's insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, as an owner, you have your insurance. So say if Diane's coming out of her unit and your service pit bull or Akita living in 500 square feet comes out, charges at her, bites her, who is she suing? The tenant or?
And renter's insurance, I don't believe would cover that.
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't think so.
That only renter's insurance is very specific in what they cover, and I know that from personal experience. When I was renting prior to buying my house, it's like it doesn't even cover all natural disasters.
No.
I don't believe.
So what about personal property? Because they do offer that alongside.
Yeah, but it's a minimum unless you increase it and pay more.
Like 20?
Yeah. And I don't know, and I guess, and that might be the provider too. But as far as the policies that I've had, it never once mentioned anything about something.
So basically, they would be suing the owner.
Probably,
basically.
yeah.
See, that's not fair.
Yeah, it's not.
That's not fair.
You mean the owner of the property or the owner
of the property?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you can just sue them outright, but they couldn't sue against their renter's insurance policy. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm saying is that's not fair because now you're forcing me to rent to a tenant with a dog when I said no pets in my lease agreement.
Yeah.
But yet now somebody has been bitten and now you want to sue me when I'm the one that never wanted the pet in the first place.
And to go back, like you were talking about, like elderly buildings, like if for instance, if the lady had provided me her paperwork, I would have made note to the building management. And then it's up to them to decide, like, if you want to notify the tenants, especially in an elderly building. Like, for me, if that was our building, I would just send out notice and say, we do have a dog on the premises. It is registered. It's a service animal. if there are any issues, please contact us. Like, don't go after the person. Don't
Right.
knock on their door, because then you're putting yourself at risk.
Yes,
and
you are.
we as a management company, but a lot of people don't think that way. They want to go take it into their own hands, and then when they get attacked, then they want to call your management company, or you want to call, you know, whomever, and want them to get involved. We told you, don't take matters into your own hands. You can't
that's not gonna always be the case. What I'm saying is, she's walking out of her
Right.
She got her back closed. She's
I've
actually
seen it.
turning the key, and then boom, your dog charges and bites her.
I've seen it, but unfortunately, in the neighborhood that it was in, it was like a fist fight. Like,
Wow. That's crazy.
So
I don't get that. I just
yeah.
I don't understand. They just have more rights, and I don't have anything against pets. Again, it's just that because they can mess up my unit too.
Yeah.
Going back
And
to what
cost
you were
you
saying
money.
about Section 8, it's not. You can have a great tenant, but look, you have a dog that's chewing up your hardwood floors, that's chewing up your baseboards. I mean,
you have that security deposit, and I don't know if it's rightful to hold the regular security deposit, because I know you can hold it for damages. So I don't know if you can add that additional to.
I think if it's over the deposit that you made, if the damages are over the deposit that you made for the pet, you can keep the money.
Yeah, so I mean.
But you need proof though. You can't just off the top of your head say your repairs are what your security deposit was. Like, you have to have
so
legitimate documentation.
Would that be another? Is that something that would fall under property management? So if it's a move out inspection,
but it's also your monthly or your quarterly walkthrough. Like, if I know you have a service animal, then I'm looking for indications that this animal may be, you know, damaging the property. I'm looking at the baseboards to make sure the animal's not chewing on the baseboards. I'm looking to make sure the floors aren't scratched up excessively, and it's not just regular wear and tear. And I'm making note of that, and I'm also, you know, letting if there is an issue, I'm letting the tenant know, like, you're gonna have to acknowledge this and try and correct it, or we may have to fine you. You know, I'm also notifying the owner, and I'm letting the tenant know I'm going to notify the owner. I'm gonna make note of this in the file. The owner has access to their files. We can't stop them from seeing that.
Yeah.
So, it's rightfully so. But yeah, I think you should. So, and in that instance, like I said, and I have, I guess, because of my background in government contracting, documentation is a big thing for me. So again, I'm making note, I'm taking pictures. So when it comes time for you to move out, we're not even gonna have that argument. We're not gonna talk about why you're not getting your security deposit back, because I've been telling you month after month or quarter after quarter, your dog will no. You have,
and not only for dogs, because we're gonna go out of pet. There are other things that people consider pets. So now that we're sitting here having this conversation, see, I'm getting knowledge too. I'm gonna also put no reptiles, because you have those that have snakes.
Yeah, they do.
Alligators
cause a much bigger issue.
And don't shake your head, because my husband had alligators.
I'm not
Like,
saying that he
literally,
didn't.
he had alligator. He had several. And it was like, yo,
what are you doing with an alligator? First of all,
like,
where did he
why?
go?
Yeah, exactly. Why do you need to have
It's
an
like,
alligator?
but the kids.
But that's true though. And then like reptiles like snakes can get in your vents, and you can't find them, and then they come out in somebody else's apartment or unit. You know, so that it can get it can get really, really crazy.
Well, again, we have gotten a lot of information today from you, Britt. And I will say, as a landlord, I would suggest that you invest in a property manager if you don't want to do a total property management company. But I suggest that you invest in a property manager to assist you with your properties. Is stress-free. You don't have to worry about those 24-hour calls. You don't have to worry about how, when, where, because people like Brittany are at the touch of a dime. Boop. Britt, the house and such needs assistance. She's like, I'll take care of it, and I really don't have any worries, and I really thank her for that. And it is a fee, but it's well worth it. So is there anything you want
Nope. Thanks, ladies.
You're welcome. I would say when hiring a property manager, just make sure that they are familiar with the area, because as we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
Baltimore is a whole different beast. So if you have a property in Baltimore, you need somebody who's familiar with Baltimore, who knows the laws, who can do what you need to do there. So just, I know a lot of investors, I know Michonne, you invest out of state. So you have to make sure that your property manager is familiar with the area. So that's,
and Brittany doesn't handle the Baltimore because she suggested that you get someone in that area. Like she said previously, she knows someone and they are a native of that area. So it's good to find a property manager in the location where you have your investment property.
Yep.
So, anything you want to say about these Corona kids? Anything? Because it's Corona time.
No, thank you.
no, thank you.
I'm trying to leave my. I'm gonna slide out.
Well, we do thank her for coming because
Yeah.
actually her child has joined ours in here.
Yeah.
They're quiet right now, but this is a good thing because he's a little one. So he did allow his mom to give us a little bit of her attention. So we thank Carter for that.
Yep.
So let's gonna wrap it up.
We'll see you next time. I'm not sure what the next episode will be about.
Y'all know we random.
Random.
So
So,
random.
yeah.
And
We'll see you next time.
bye. Well, let's see that again. You had such a pretty smile. She said, "Just see you next time."
So stupid.
Okay, bye.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.